Frank26, News and Views, Thursday the 10th of April 2025. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. KTFA. Frank26. So will a new exchange rate because 1310 will destroy Iraq's economy. The President of the American Chamber of Commerce, the Treasury Department will play a role in developing the Iraqi economy. The 9th of April 2025, the Vice President of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Steve Lutz, confirmed on Wednesday that the Treasury Department will play a role in developing the Iraqi economy. Meanwhile, the head of the Iraqi Economic Council stated that the country is much better off economically today than in previous years. Our visit to Iraq is the largest visit by businessmen from various sectors from the United States of America, Lutz said during a press conference attended by a Shafaq news agency correspondent. He added, Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani is working to establish partnerships between Iraqi and American companies to develop Iraq's industrial and economic sectors. He continued, the U.S. Treasury and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce represent the joint efforts of Iraq and America to develop the economy and to have a joint role between us. For his part, Ibrahim al-Baghdadi, head of the Iraqi Economic Council, emphasized during the conference that the recent years following liberation have unfortunately witnessed a significant decline in education in Iraq. However, I hope that it will develop again with the presence of the American University to save education, and this is considered a lifeline for Iraq. He stressed that we cannot forget the role of the United States in liberating Iraq from dictatorship, and that the United States is the world's leading nation in various fields and is the one who has the credit for Iraq after its liberation. He pointed out that the visit of the American delegation, consisting of more than 100 individuals and more than 60 American companies, is evidence of the progress made in relations to develop the Iraqi economy, adding that 2 days ago, we launched the Private Sector Development Council, headed by Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, the first Vice President, the Minister of Planning, and the second Vice President. He explained that Iraq today is better than it was decades ago, and we welcome any company that wants to work in Iraq to develop the Iraqi industry and economy. Frank26. KTFA family, please notice. Not trillions, but billions. F26 U.S. Embassy. We signed billions of dollars in agreements with Sudani. The 9th of April 2025, Baghdad. The U.S. Embassy in Baghdad confirmed on Wednesday that it had signed multi-billion-dollar agreements with Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, through American companies, to meet Iraq's energy needs. The embassy stated in a post on the X platform, which was monitored by the 964 network, proud that American companies GE Vernova and UGT Renewables signed multi-billion-dollar agreements with the Prime Minister at Prime Minister's Media Office to meet Iraq's energy needs. The United States leadership in the energy sector drives global progress. Frank26. KTFA family, take note. Tariffs also deal with currency manipulation. Based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world's markets, I am hereby raising the tariff charged to China by the United States of America to 125%. Effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States, including the Departments of Commerce, Treasury, and the USTR, to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs. And that these countries have not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States, I have authorized a 90-day pause, and a substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period, of 10%, also effective immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Frank26. Banking reform is the monetary reform for an exchange rate. F26 al-Nusayri confirms that the comprehensive banking reform project announced by the central bank will yield promising results. The 9th of April 2025, Baghdad economic and banking advisor Samir al-Nusayri confirmed that the banking reform project announced by the central bank will yield promising results. The 9th of April 2025, Baghdad. Economic and banking advisor Samir Al-Nusayri confirmed that the banking reform project announced by the central bank is consistent with the methodology included and adopted in the government program and the central bank's third strategy for the years 2023 and 2024. It will yield promising results in cooperation with global consulting firms Ernst & Young, K2, and Oliver Wyman to build a transparent information base for comprehensive reform, starting with the banking sector as the first essential link in the economy. Without a sound, solid, and modern banking sector, a strong and robust national economy cannot be built. Al-Nusayri pointed out that among the important initial results achieved is the commencement of the completion of the actual implementation of the plans drawn up during 2025 and 2026 for comprehensive reform, which are summarized in enhancing financial inclusion and achieving stimulating and sustainable returns for shareholders and investors. And the government and the central bank leading projects aimed at modernizing the private banking sector and meeting the needs of the transition to a rapidly growing national economy, creating a fair, competitive environment in the banking market, and raising the level of private banks' ability to confront risks and protect depositors and creditors, thus restoring confidence in the banking sector in general. As well as expanding digital transformation procedures, expanding and diversifying banking services and products, and complying with international standards. Al-Nusayri pointed out that the above objectives, which were discussed yesterday at the Banking Reform Conference, are established as primary and secondary objectives in the central bank's third strategy for the years 2024 to 2026, and that work is being done on them with a steady, systematic approach, and that the objectives will be achieved in cooperation with Oliver and Wyman at an accelerated pace. In the years 2025 and 2026, it is clear that the central bank, in cooperation with relevant authorities, will focus on the following: sharing with the private banking sector detailed criteria and timelines for implementing the reform process, activating support channels, and holding workshops to provide technical assistance. The Central Bank of Iraq is fully committed to achieving this transformation by working closely with all relevant stakeholders to pave the way for a strong, resilient, modern, and inclusive financial and banking system. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: Dinar Recaps.